assessment leaders. Yes, every single one of you is an assessment leader. Assessment only works if everyone contributes and works for the goal of improving our college and classes for our students. So let me start out by thanking you for your work and contributing to assessment. But another person that I would like to be thanked is our DACs. You all need to be thankful for your DACs. We are going to appreciate over the course of the next couple of minutes all of the work that the department assessment coordinators do to keep assessment running at our college. I'm Pam Nelson. I work in the Physical Sciences department here at GCC, specifically teaching geology. I also have two other roles. I am the Assistant Director of Assessment, but I have also been the DAC for my department for well over 15 years. So I know of what I speak. What I want you to do is understand what the DAC is and what they do. DAC stands for Department Assessment Coordinator. The DACs are the representatives of your department, and they do all of the documentation and reporting that is necessary to get the assessment of your department and within your department publicized to the college and the stakeholders as a whole. They report to the CART assessment team and to everything else that happens on our college. They are the assessment heroes. They really bring forth what happens from your particular discipline or department up so everybody can actually see it and utilize it. What do you think they do? Well, they're the ones that ask you to complete those course forms for each of your courses. They meet with you or email you and request that you work with them to develop assessments and or to move your assessment through the processes of planning and acting and using that data. They also are aware and are knowledgeable of the fact that they have a lot of work to do behind the scenes, much of which you don't know about. There is a lot of documentation and there is a lot of pieces that have to be put in play in order for all of your department information to come forth and really shine to everybody else. So it's not really all about the forms. What they actually want you really to do at the end of all of their work and your assessment is to get together with your colleagues and be able to discuss the results you had to make everything better in your department with respect to our teaching, our learning, our plans, our departments, and just interpersonal sharing of what's happening. What do they do to get to all of the results and sharing all of that information with everybody else? Well, the thing that you're most familiar with is they ask you to fill out a assessment report. Now, throughout here, I'll be using stuff from physical sciences since that's my department, but there is a similar identical form and set of data that I'm going to be showing you for every department. You fill out that report for each of your courses. Once those are filled out, they populate into a Google Form Excel spreadsheet that looks, well, spreadsheet, like you see on the right. And they use the information that is in there to summarize the successes, both of the individual courses and as of the department as a whole. They take that information and they populate and enhance what's called the academic assessment plan. There is a AAP for each one of the departments. It begins with describing the department and the various benefits, features, programs, all of the essential components of your department. And then it goes through and it explains what the plans for assessment are overall, and it gives a broad calendar for which of the courses will be assessed in each of the years of a 3-year cycle. And then each one of those courses that has been assessed and will be assessed has a separate table. I've just shown you the header of the table here that goes and summarizes the information that you have put into the form. So often the DACs take the responsibility of mining the information from the form and putting it into these tables. The difference is that the AAP and the document that I'm going to show you at the bottom are public documents. These are the documents that are viewed by all of our stakeholders, the upcoming HLC visit, or you yourself can go in and look at the AAPs of every single department on campus if you want to learn more about what they're doing. So it is the role and goal of the DAC to be able to make that assessment plan shine for your department and really show and showcase what you're doing in assessment. The other thing that that responses table sheet actually fills into is what we lovingly call the donut charts. These are the academic affairs department reporting circles here. They are populated by the number of courses that you teach in your department and how many of those have begun or completed the assessments. Now, I just took one row of the circles, and these are not fully updated for our last 3-year cycle yet. So that you don't have to like read the numbers in detail yet, is what I'm saying here. But this is a big page that gives an overall view of all of the 18 departments, which is really a snapshot of how assessment is progressing at any given time. The DACs are playing into this in the fact that they are who is responsible for determining the relative number of courses in your department and making sure that you have completed your assessment and that it's showing up correctly within the donut charts and the number of courses that are taught in your department. Again, 2 more ways to allow that DAC to be able to show how your department is shining. They're encouraging in the fact that they encourage you to be able to do your course level assessment, that form that we went over a little bit before. And now we've also encouraged them to go on to assist in getting you to utilize the ILOs, otherwise known as the institutional learning outcomes, as either part or whole of your course level assessment. There are many benefits to the ILOs. They are accumulated and tabulated across all of the various courses and disciplines that use it, and that gives us a higher representative number to use in some of our data analysis. Some of the analyses we're using are things that are in line with the diversity, equity, and inclusion concept, where we can divide by gender or number of credits taken or first generation college student, etc., and see how they're doing across the campus. So it has been a learning curve for everyone, but we are getting to the point where we have ILO, what we call ILO data dashboards, that are going to allow us to utilize and compare various successes across the campus and to show us where we need to make some improvements or help to reach out to certain groups. And that's really going to be helpful to us. And that is how the DACs have been recently trained and are continuing to be trained to help you utilize those in your classes. So that was a little bit of an uphill curve. And again, something you should be thankful for that the DACs are putting their time and effort into to be able to help you. As I said, really the ultimate goal for all of this is that the coordinators really want you to work with them and with each other. They want to help you figure out how you can best help your students and document how you have helped your students, and then to get you talking to everyone else in your department so that you can work together to make everything as best it can be for the students within your department and for the fellow faculty within your department, so that that communication helps us all to grow both as assessment professionals but also in our faculty role. We all know that we assess everybody all of the time, and that most of the time we don't take the time to document it because we're just utilizing it on the fly. All teachers do that. But the coordinators are tasked with the job of asking you to do that documentation. And that allows us to document and display your success and help the department as a whole. The DACs do a lot of work to make our departments shine in assessment and to coordinate the discussions that happen during, before, during, and after any type of assessment process. So I ask you, please go out and find your DAC today and give them a huge thank you. Most of their work is done behind the scenes, and the little bit that you see of them asking you to complete your forms or your ILO may not be as big as you perceive when the job is really looked at with a magnifying glass. So please go out there, find them, thank them, and help them to do their job by filling out your forms, going through the process with the ILOs, and just generally communicating with one another for our ultimate goal of improvement. Thanks.